Now coming to the motor mount. Now you see the motor is already installed, and you have the propeller and you have a good propeller, and you have a propeller and you have a spinner here, and you can go ahead and install as is. But before you do that, I just like to say, by removing these 4 screws, you can remove this whole mount out and this faceplate out, and that's where these 4 screws are holding, the black screws are holding the motor. And in case some guys wants to upgrade their motor, and if they want to have an outrunner, then you can always install the motor outside too. With the present installation, the maximum propeller size what you can use is a 6-inch propeller on this. You cannot use a bigger propeller. But if you have another motor which you want to upgrade for a better more powerful motor or something, which I don't think is needed, but still I think for the floats version I think you should have a little more powerful motor, because the airplane has to fly with the drag all the way for the whole flight. So I would recommend a slightly powerful motor. I think the powerful motor, the float package, is available with RcBazaar. You can buy that separately, and that particular motor sits on top of the plate and not inside, not like as is. It will come out, and with that motor you can use a 7-inch propeller for an added thrust. And in case if you after some time, after you use it, if you see this shaking, all you have to do is just remove these 2 screws, or these may be loosened, so you can always tighten these screws. Actually, in fact, what I have done for my model, this model, is I have epoxied this whole part to the foam. So that's not a big deal. You just have to remove these 2 screws and these 4, so this whole plate comes off and these 2 pieces are apart. Just add some glue here. You can use cyano or you can use epoxy, and then you can install back this faceplate. Here I have kept the propeller and the spinner and these 2 small screws which I opened from the spinner package. Now I'm going to tell you how to mount the propeller and the spinner. Now if you see this very closely, the shaft is got 2 grub screws. Now this 2 grub screws is what is going to hold the motor shaft. And if you look very closely, you have a flat. I don't know if you can see it in the video. Yes, you can. You can see there is a flat spot. Now at one of the grub screws should come at the flat spot. Now what you have to do is loosen out these 2 grub screws a little out, and make sure that one of this grub screw goes on the flat side, like this. Okay, and then tighten it by using a Allen key or a hex driver. Or the other way, what you can also do if you are finding it difficult, is all you have to do is just remove this nut and this pops out. So what you can do is you can install this even more easier. Make sure that this one grub screw is on the flat spot, and tighten it. And again guys, I insist, please use a thread lock compound wherever you're screwing a metal to metal. And again, please use very little of it. Now we have tightened only one, so make sure you turn the other way around and you tighten the other side also, all the way in. And again, you don't have to apply real good pressure with this. Just a finger tighten is more than enough, because you're using a thread lock. After this is installed, you can go ahead and you can install the faceplate. you see there's a nut kind of protrusion here, and the nut should sit inside. So make sure that there is no gap or anything. This is a little tricky, but I think once with the time, yeah, there we go. This is how it should be installed. Now coming to the propeller. As I said, this is a 6.4 propeller. You also get the safety instructions and how to use this. Now please make sure that one of these fillers will go, and it should go flat. There should not be any play like this. So you'll have to find out which is the one which goes into this. Now this is the one. Now if you see, there is no play, right? Now just squeeze this fellow out, and if you see in the prop, one side you can't push this, but the other side has got a bigger hole. So just mount this over here. After installing the base plate of the spinner, then next go to the prop. After you install the filler on the prop, another thing, as I said, the prop, the motor should rotate anti-clockwise. That means the leading edge of the prop should go first, like this. This also should rotate anti-clockwise. Now please take the prop, and the front of the prop, where you see the number 6.4 written and the name of the prop written, that should go towards the front of the model. That means like this. Please do not install it towards the back. Then the numbers which say 6.4 should come towards the front of the propeller. Now this is how you install this towards the front of the propeller, and the nut which came with it. In the beginning, just hand tighten the nut. Okay, just hand tighten this, and then take your spinner and just make sure that it sits properly. Now if your the prop is in the wrong place, where you see the grooves, right, then it may not sit in that. See, you will have a lot of gap. So just make sure that the prop is at the place where there is no grooves, okay, at here, and at that place I would recommend you to install the spinner hub, the spinner. As you see, there should be no gap. Now after you make sure that the spinner and the prop is sitting properly, remove the spinner back. After you install the prop and you have made sure that the spinner is sitting correctly, take a plier or a spanner or a nut driver, and by holding the prop and the base plate so that the prop doesn't shift, tighten it fully. Again, when I say tighten it fully, it is going on a plastic, so please do not over tighten. Okay, just a little bit of torque is enough. And after that, please install your spinner, and after you put your spinner, just make sure that there is no gap between the back plate of the spinner and the spinner. Okay, and 2 screws are given with the spinner in the package. Just put this inside and screw it. Again, here too, you don't have to over tighten it. It is just holding onto a plastic, so just a hand tighten with your small screwdriver should be more than enough. And after you have tightened, just make sure that you pull the spinner in your hand with a little bit of force, and just make sure that it doesn't come out or there's no gap. So tighten until then. That's it. So that will finish your prop and spinner installation.